What's up, people? Welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best podcast. Talk about everything brutal, new death, hard slam, grind, thrashcore, metal. Look at that. Didn't even look at my notes. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM Team Manager Jr. Tim, how's it going?
Great. Feeling great.
Good. Glad to see you're back in the saddle. And joining us once again, giving Adam a run for his money as the most frequent guest, Mr. Oriion. Oriion, thanks again for joining.
Yeah, of course. Always a pleasure.
We are glad to hear you. Oriion, folks, is here on less than 8 hours' notice. Just happened to text him today, said, what are you doing this evening? Let's want to come in and chat. Okay. So for this week, we're going to talk about, we already talked about the best movie soundtrack, new metal movie soundtrack of all time. It was Strangeland. But we're going to talk about one of the precursors to that soundtrack, which is kind of wild in itself. The soundtrack to the 1995 movie Mortal Kombat. Yes, the 95 version. Which, surprisingly enough, went platinum in less than a year. It reached number 10 in the Billboard 200. And it was included in the 2011 Guinness World Records Gamers Edition as the most successful video game spin-off soundtrack album. Kind of nuts.
I wasn't expecting that. All right.
Yeah, platinum in a year is wild, dude.
For a soundtrack. Soundtrack, no less. And it's not even like it's like a Hans Zimmer or a John Williams soundtrack where it's all, unique string music. This is literally a soundtrack of compilations of EDM, for lack of a better term, and heavy metal. I saw one of the notes in Wikipedia is this is the first electronic dance music record to receive a platinum certification in the United States.
Yeah, Jay stealing all my talking
really
points.
Interesting. Okay. Because most of it's industrial and breakbeat. Like there's a lot of and Napalm Death too. Like that's
Oriion is the young guy, right? The definition of EDM has changed over time.
Yeah, when you said that's not EDM to me. Like EDM is like Excision and Skrillex and that kind of stuff. But I mean I love that. I saw that Orbital was on the soundtrack, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is breakbeat electronica and trance and like that big beat '90s stuff that I love. And
yeah, if you watch clips really from the movie, they put the songs in perfectly.
Yeah, the movie is bad. Can we talk about it?
Bad.
Oh, have you ever? All right, have you ever seen it?
No.
But you're missing. What you're missing is Christopher Lambert with a terrible accent playing Raiden. And it's not Cary Fukunaga, the guy who's like a character Japanese actor. He's been in everything. He plays the bad guy, and oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad.
I need to watch it too. I love So Bad It's Good movies.
And they bring out who's the character at the end with the forearms?
Goro.
He comes out at the end, and it's terrible CGI. Oh my god, it's so bad.
Scorpion King style.
Yeah, no, worse than that. Because that was animated like Uncanny Valley shit where you can kind of tell that they were trying to do it with CGI. This was just not a good look. They would have been better off doing like Clash of the Titans stop motion animation. They would have been better off.
The soundtrack made more than the movie, probably.
Yes. I actually saw this in the theaters, believe it or not. Saw it in the theaters.
I think I did too, honestly.
Wow.
My high school girlfriend, her younger sister, worked at the local movie theater. So we would go and they would charge us like children's ticket prices, like $3 or $4 or whatever. So we would just go and see whatever was there because it was an excuse to get out of the house.
I wish we could show the trailer on here and not get killed with 45 copyright claims.
Oh, I know. It's so bad. It's so bad. All right. So
I had to refresh my memory at work today on lunch when I was finishing my notes, and I was like, Jesus, this is terrible.
It was not good. But the soundtrack, it actually works. And when we go through some of the songs, we'll talk about where some of these pieces get inserted. But it's a great soundtrack. I mean, this is how I found Fear Factory. I had no idea who Fear Factory was until I heard this. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd always seen there was a local record store by me where on the one hand side of the store in the back where it was all dirty and dusty and the lights didn't really work, it was all metal and hardcore. And I remember seeing Soul of a New Machine all the time, but I never picked it up. I saw the band was on Roadrunner. This is the first time I actually heard Fear Factory, and I was all, wow, what the shit? The shit?
I'm in the same boat, man. When I heard Zero Signal on here, I was like, whoa. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, first time I heard Bile,
Oh yeah.
which led me
Actually,
to
this
buy.
was the first time I heard Bile too, because I had never listened to them before because their aesthetic was always a big turnoff to me.
Yeah, it's kind of that kind of got weird. And this is this. Well, we'll talk about it, but this song was off the EP, which was very, very industrial. And then after that, they got way more heavier rock type sounding, and they kind of lost you me a bit.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this? Like comes out on TVT, they make a shitload of money off of it, and then it's like then it kind of explains why in the late '90s they just signed fucking everybody.
Yes, yes.
I wonder if that's why, because it goes platinum in a year. So how much money you think in the '90s you actually made money off of records? So I'm thinking TVT made a boatload and then said, "Fuck it, we're signing everybody." Because who was it? They signed Seven Dust. I mean, it was 9 Inch Nails, right?
They did Sister Machine Gun.
That's right. Yeah,
that
that's
was a
what I'm
Wax Tracks TVT collab. Yeah,
God, 9 Inch Nails was on Interscope. What the hell am I thinking?
Yeah, you're thinking of the original 9 Inch Nails was TVT. I think Pretty Hate Machine.
Pretty Hate Machine. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was right. Okay, I was just I'm just in the wrong era.
Yeah, and then I mean, you look at we'll talk about the songs, but the lineup. There's some like Oriiion said. There's some electronic. There's some industrial. There's whatever the fuck Type O Negative is considered. There's some heavier stuff. George Clinton. It's really a hodgepodge mix, and even the sequencing on the soundtrack it's electronic, industrial. Then it gets heavy. Then it goes to some weird directions, and it closes out with George Clinton. So, well, wow.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is there was multiple Stabbing Westward songs in the movie that never made it on the soundtrack.
Yeah, three songs off.
Yeah, three of them.
Really weird, right?
Are they in the movie?
There's one, right?
Yes. Lost, Lies, and Can't Happen Here are all show up in the movies. Clips of it all show in movies, and it's from the album
On God.
Yes, which is right before Wither, Blister, Burn, and Peel.
Yeah,
and that's the album that blew them up.
Well, didn't they?
Yep.
I don't even think there's a song on the actual record though, because I don't see it on here.
No, there is no Stabbing Westward. That was the thing. And you know what? We should probably find somebody to interview and find out why, because that's weird to have 3 songs in the soundtrack and then not have them show up. 3 songs in the movie, not have them show up in the soundtrack at all.
Were them Stabbing Westward records on TVT?
That's a good question.
They were huge after that. When that one song came out, what's that most popular song again? That's great.
So they were on Columbia.
Oh, okay.
What Do I Have to Do was the song that and Shame.
That's such a good song.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. But what's the song that they were huge with in like the late 90s?
Save Yourself.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking great song.
I love that song, yeah.
Yeah, which is the album after. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they had a run
for years, and I found it like probably like 2016, 2017 again, because I used to hear it on the radio like all the time.
Yeah, they just put a record out in 22 that was great.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
No, it was good.
Called Seeing Ghosts or Chasing Ghosts or something like that.
Something Ghosts, yeah.
Yeah, it might just be called Ghosts. It's really fucking good though. I actually forgot it came out when we did our best of.
There's a lot of those bands coming out of the woodwork now to release stuff it's pretty damn good. Damn good. So let's dive in. So we'll start the album off with George Clinton gets credit as the artist, but I don't remember hearing his voice at all. A Taste of Things to Come. And this is the intro to the album. This is the one, it's all the Kodo drumming, right? It's all the really, really fast, like the rhythmic drumming, and then it cuts out. Okay.
Yeah. It's like I think that's like kind of also in like kind of the beginning of the movie as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe like that first fight scene set up or something. Where you see like Liu Kang come out and it's just like this fucking guy that's like 12 years old.
Yeah, right. It looks like just a normal dude. Yeah, it's really kind of bad.
Yeah, but
I mean, it sets the tone for the movie really well. I mean, it's got the fast, like kind of. I'd call it like the faux Japanese composing sort of thing that they do for a lot of the like westernized movies like this.
Well, I
It
mean,
sounds cool though. I mean, it fits Mortal Kombat perfectly.
yeah, I wonder. Well, obviously, the movie is based around all that cultural stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Liu
Yeah.
Kang is kind of like the main character.
Yeah. So it makes sense to have that Japanese, the kodo drumming. Like it makes sense. It really does
Yeah,
make
for
sense.
sure.
Yeah, but number two is a band that nobody talks about anymore, and it's really sad because they're a great band. Gravity Kills rules.
So I didn't realize they put out another album after this in 2002.
They did.
I
I
think they actually put out 2 or 3. I dug in because
Oh wow, they indeed have 4 albums.
I had no idea this thing Perversion that came out in 98. Had
I don't
no
know.
idea that was a thing. Um, I looked around this morning because I was like, whatever happened to those guys? There was always it wasn't a bad, it wasn't a bad album. I will say this. So I had this album. I bought it when it first came out, from the CD guy at college. I always found it amusing that this album had 11 tracks and every single song had a one-word song title.
Ultra Spank did the same thing.
It's so weird. It's like,
Yeah.
you guys are really kind of struggling at the end, huh? Like trying to come up with names.
What Ultra Spank record is that?
First one.
Self-titled?
Yeah. 5 suck. Yeah, it's yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was listening to that earlier. How come I didn't realize it? Because we're doing that record, so I've been listening to it.
Yeah, it's really good. I
It
love
is
that
good.
first Ultra Spank album. But yeah, these guys, this was Oriiion, what would you consider this? It's not pop music, but it's not industrial.
Well, Gravity Kills.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd call it like industrial tinged hard rock.
okay.
That's kind of I haven't listened to a ton of Gravity Kills. Like John Charisma Detox introduced me to them a while back, and I listened to like Guilty and the Goodbye demo version, which is on the album. It's good. Like it's just not something that really caught my attention very much. Like it's good music, great production. Like it's definitely like it's fun to listen to, and
it's one of them bands.
To say I don't listen to them very often, but I mean they are like
it's one of them like mood kind of bands though. You have to be in the mood to listen to that kind of stuff because it gets kind of it gets kind of old after a while. It's like then you need something heavier.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to think of other bands like a more mainstreamized version of God Lives Underwater or Machines of Loving Grace, if either of you have heard those bands.
Yeah.
Serious.
Okay, I didn't know if y'all liked industrial very much.
Oh, I still listen to that. Empty by God Lives Underwater is a perfect album. It's an album where I don't fast forward one song. I never got to see them live. My brother did. The set ended after 3 songs because a fight broke out.
Oh,
of course.
It was them, and I think it was Stabbing Westward. It was at Coney Island High in New York City. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
You know what band would have been perfect for this album, this soundtrack, but they're 3 years too late? Is Orgy.
Yeah,
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like when I asked you, Oriion, how would you describe Gravity Kills? So you look at the next song on the album is KMFDM. They are kissing cousins, right? Stabbing Westward, KMFDM, Gravity Kills, early 9 Inch Nails. This is back in the mid 90s when industrial was becoming a thing. The Downward Spiral was the biggest thing no, it wasn't out yet. That was 90. Was it 90? No, that was 94.
Yep.
I mean, Ministry was huge. Ministry. Yeah.
I mean, without Ministry, like 9 Inch Nails wouldn't even be a thing. You take albums like The Land of Rape and Honey, and especially Psalm 69. Like Psalm 69 changed everything in that scene, and I feel like a lot of bands took influence from that album.
You know what? That's a good point actually. If you don't have Ministry, does 9 Inch Nails come around?
Boom without Ministry.
So those 2 bands, I mean, the timing is, I think Ministry was first, but they went through the same life cycle where they started off as this poppy kind of
the synth wave,
and then all of a sudden both of them got really dark really fast.
I don't care what anyone says. The first couple Ministry records are fucking great.
Actually, that's what I listened to before, like, because I hated the industrial Ministry before because I thought the production was too wonky. Like, I love them now. Like, I love the Bush trilogy. I love the stuff before that. But my favorite Ministry album for the longest was With Sympathy.
Hell yeah, I love that record.
That's fucking weird. The Kim, she's older than me. When I was first going through her CDs, I found Twitch and With Sympathy. I'm like, you know who this is, right? She goes, yeah, I love these albums. I said, You ever listen to any of their later stuff? And she went, no, I have no idea. And I put on, I think it was Psalm 69. And what is that? End of New World Order is the first song. She was like, what is this? I said, this is the same guy.
Yeah.
This is the same guy. Okay, so we get
Oriiion, you need to read Al's book.
Yes.
Fucking incredible.
I've been wanting to read a lot of people's books. Also, J.S. Clayton from Pitch Shifter has a book that I want to read.
Yep, he's got a new one. I have a copy of the first one, and the new one is actually going to the printers now. The Tokyo or Bust. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
We got to try reach out and get them on again. I tried the first time. I was talking to somebody, and then it just kind of fizzled. Yeah, the Al Jurgensen book is unreal. I mean, just the stories he tells, and it's odd. It's funny because now that he's sober, he has this insane level of clarity where he remembers everything so perfectly. And yeah, it's kind of insane. All right, so we got Gravity Kills, arguably an industrial rock one-hit wonder, arguably. And then we go over to a song that was all over the place in the movies in the mid-90s, early 90s to mid-90s.
Was it really?
Oh yes, KMFDM, Juke Joint, Jezebel. So
I love the original mix of that song. Like I love Nile as a record. I listened to the remix actually just today, and it's definitely more of like a more hard rock. It sounds like a ready for radio version of that song.
Well, it's Giorgio Moroder. That's why he had his fingers all over it.
Yeah.
That this song was in Bad Boys. It was in this movie. It was in 2 other movies. I forget which ones, but yeah, it was all over the place. And this was the song that kind of broke them in the sense of being a popular. I mean, being in a more noticeable band. A Drug Against War was all over MTV, and they were known for their videos. They were known for that aesthetic.
I love the album cover aesthetic that they had. That's why I got into them.
Yeah,
I got to go back and dive into this band again. It's like one of them bands that like I used to listen to like 98, 99.
Oh yeah.
When I'm like walking the boardwalk and stuff, and you could like win their records by like popping balloons and shit with darts.
Yeah.
Really? That's
dude. Yeah, in the 90s, man, on the New Jersey boardwalks in the, like Atlantic City,
Wildwood, Seaside. Yep.
There's so many records that I got from there. Downward Spiral, Blur's Song 2, whatever it's called, Daft Punk, all that shit, man. Prodigy.
I will say that the earlier stuff for them is good, but for me it's Angst, Nile, Extort, those 3, because that was right when I was getting into this type of music. Those 3 were all amazing albums. I mean, I had a boombox in my locker in high school, and in between, I think it was like band practice and homeroom, we would always have. I think it was Angst was always blaring. It was always good album,
dude. No, my favorite KMFDM album is Extort because the first song I heard from them, like it was like, oh shoot, probably like 10th or 11th grade or something like that, which is, I can't believe that was a few years ago.
That one was good too because it was very the guitars were high up in the mix.
Yeah, they were.
It was way more rock than industrial.
It was also just way more dark. Like Dogma was the first song I heard. The spoken word, like really dark, like sort of like screed on capitalism and
yeah.
Where are you from again? I forget. I'm sorry.
Florida.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you never seen the boardwalk thing? That's we should find some pictures for you.
Oh yeah,
that's wild.
You know
dude.
how many I got a box of VHS bootlegs upstairs of old 2 Nine Inch Nails shows, a Ministry show. It was talking about Nine Inch Nails coming full circle. It was from, I think it was the spring of 93, maybe spring of 93 or spring of 94, where it was them playing Poughkeepsie, New York. And then that same tour, the Self-Destruct tour, the second leg, they played fucking Madison Square Garden. So
wow.
that's how quickly it's like like Spirit Box, who came around and did a small show, and then their next leg was giant fucking venues, right? Like,
no, I remember getting onto Spirit Box back when you remember the singles collection came out, and they were like still this small band, and like Courtney LaPlante was still known for I Wrestled a Bear Once, and then they just blew up. And I remember like everybody like who was into metalcore in my area pre-ordered the CD for Eternal Blue at this local place I go to, including me. I love that album. That was one of my albums of the year when it came out. Spirit Box.
Yeah, she's got talent, man. She's got some skill.
Oh, she's insane.
I think we all. I mean, timing of this episode, Lorna Shore just announced their opening for Gojira and Mastodon on a. That is going to blow them up. I mean, they sold out that entire first tour, but this will expand them to an even bigger audience, and I think it expands them to an audience where a Gojira fan is going to be a little bit more musically curious, experimental, open to new ideas, as opposed to the band that I would compare Lorna Shore to, which would be Knocked Loose, who went out with Gojira, but now they go out with like Bring Me the Horizon and that stuff where they're closer in taste, I would argue, versus Lorna Shore and like Mastodon.
I feel like Lorna Shore is going to be the new, not necessarily in terms of style, but in terms of like, they're that popular deathcore band that everybody likes. They're going to be the new Suicide Silence.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. And the Suicide Silence is basically the new Job for a Cowboy. We just talked about this in the deathcore episode.
Yeah. Which I still need to watch. I saw the thumbnail and I was looking like Suicide Silence.
Yeah. We went down the rabbit hole on that one. So KMFDM, everybody should check them out. They're one of the progenitors of industrial music. This Juke Joint Jezebel is a popular song. The EP that this it came out on the album, but it also came out on an EP. It was a single, which is like 7 different remixes, all by Giorgio Moroder, and he kind of went nuts with it. It was really, really fun. So this takes us to one of the more interesting tracks on the album, with a band I'd never heard before. The track is Unlearn, and the artist is Psychosonic.
I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, I don't even remember this one.
My notes here say this makes me want to take E and dance.
Oh, there you go.
Well, also, the other thing I wrote here is there is a definitive difference between good techno and bad techno. And there's good, bad techno, and then there is bad techno. And it is this is good techno. I think this is perfectly done. My point being is there's a very fine line where it goes from good and fits the genre and okay, this works, to, oh my God, this is the most uninspired track I've ever heard in my life.
I got to pull this one up.
I listened to it earlier, and the only thing I could remember was like,
horrible.
Do anything else?
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't bad. Like, I mean, I like techno music. I mean, I like some of more of the modern house music and stuff like that. Like, I like to listen to the there's this one sort of distributor label called Anjuna Beats, and they have like yearly compilations and stuff like that. And I usually like a lot of those. It's the same kind of 4 on the floor, 130 BPM house trance music kind of stuff. I love that, but this just, I don't know. I didn't really.
This is mid 90s chill out backroom limelight stuff.
Yeah.
Oriiion, you ever mess with the Orb?
No.
Okay, so if you want to talk about so Orbis Terrorum is the album that I like best by them. That's this vein, but it's perfectly done. This is the shit you put on in the background when everybody's coming down off the party.
Wait, what's that album called?
Orbis Terrorum, I think it's said. Hold on.
Hold it for just a second. Year of the Ghost? Wait, what? Oh, The Orb. Okay, yep, found it.
Yes. 1995.
With V's. Okay.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's unreal. It's really good ambient. It's like Eno's music for airports, but I love it. But anyway, so back to this. So Psychosonic is definitely that. I wish Jimmy Ferrari was here. We could conference him in. He would talk about how this is that back room. Everybody's coming down off the party. You're waiting for the E to wear off so you can go to the diner, get something to eat before you go home. This is the music that played.
You know what's funny about that? That's definitely what you do after the E. You go to the diner.
Right. You wait for it to come down. You go get something to eat because you're hungry, and then you go home. So I want to talk about the next.
Can't sleep.
Yeah, right. And then you're sitting there grinding your teeth. So the next song is really kind of wild. So it's "Control the Juno Reactor" instrumental by Tracy Lords.
I read up on her history, and I was like,
I was going to say, are both of you aware of Tracy Lords' history? It's kind of wild. She ends up as a recording artist. It is really kind of nuts. So this song, I think, so this was in all the fight scenes, was this song.
It's a really cool song.
Yeah. And I think what makes it better than what it could have been or what it was in the original before the remix is the Juno reactor touched it. So if you've ever, Tim, you ever fuck around with the Juno reactor?
I have not.
They were techno, but they were more jungle drum and bass type stuff.
Okay.
But they did a lot of world music, so like all sorts of Afro beats and stuff. Really, really unique stuff.
Yeah, I never got into stuff like that because to me it was just like, well, what the hell's going on here? It's like my mind can't like comprehend that kind of stuff.
Well, you know what? We should definitely do an episode on the electronica coming out of the new metal movement, where at the same time, those same labels that were signing bands like Korn and Slipknot were signing Junkie XL, Johnny Violent, right? Like there was a push at one point to make electronic the next thing. And
there was Julian K.
Yep.
One Dead by Sunrise, also kind of industrial, like electronica leaning. That's Chester Bennington side project.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. The first wave was everybody trying to make it big on the heels of new metal and boy bands. So it was Fatboy Slim, Sneaker Pimps, and
Portishead.
Oakenfold, Portishead, who they occupy a very unique place in music history. I mean, when I saw the Deftones when they were touring off Around the Fur, that was their music playing in between bands. It was the Portishead album.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Great fucking record.
But yeah. So and even the live album too in New York. So this is Control by Tracy Lords. For those of you who don't know, Tracy Lords was an adult film actress who almost ruined the industry because she was filming with a fake birth certificate. She did one movie of legal age, which turned out to make tons of money because it was the one movie that she had that was legal. Funny anecdote: the first porn movie I ever saw was Tracy Does Paris when I was like 12. So Tracy Lords and I go back a long ways at this point. But yeah, so I don't know what led her to get
sticky early.
I don't remember what led her to go into electronic music. I remember seeing this in Tower Records and going, is that the same Tracy? No, that can't be the same Tracy Lords. And yes, it was. Yes, it was. So yeah, but this is a good song. You can tell that as good as she might have been in the studio, Juno Reactor pushed it over the edge.
Yeah, for sure.
What a filthy girl.
After Tracy Lords, we have Orbital, not to be confused with the Orb, and Halcyon and On and On. So
Such a good song. I love that song.
Yes. This is the perfect chill type techno. Tim, I actually saw this band at Lollapalooza.
Oh, lucky.
With Korn and Tool and Massive Attack.
Fucking love Massive Attack.
And somebody else. Yeah, Massive Attack is another one of those great albums. Tricky, right? All that stuff.
You know what's weird? I love electronic music. I still have yet to listen to Mezzanine, which I've been meaning to listen to.
Oh, you definitely need to.
That's a top 20 for me.
It's a great album. Like not a genre. It transcends a genre. It's a great album.
What do they call it? Trip hop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, listen to that record ASAP. It's that good.
Yeah. Most of the electronic stuff I lean is like you're purely leaning in the IDM and drum and bass and breakcore kind of stuff.
There's a song on the Massive Attack record that is goddamn amazing. Let me find it because I have it.
Is it the one that was in all those movies back in the day?
Hold on 1 second. It's called Man Next Door. Dude, amazing song. It's like one of them songs where you put on where you got like a really nice buzz and you're just like, oh yeah. The whole record is good for that, honestly.
Yeah. This is a great. It's a dark album, but yeah, it's really good, really good.
Yeah. Get on that, man.
So coming off of Orbital, we have the Utah Saints, and the Utah Saints take on the theme from Mortal Kombat. It's the Mortal Kombat theme.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, bang. It's that. And the scary part is, and from here it gets interesting, right? Because now we've just tipped the needle all the way over to heavy, and we're like, okay, let's go. So first,
Geezer Butler.
So I think this album, so it's The Invisible by Geezer, or AKA GZR, AKA G //Z/R was the original originally how the band name was written. This is one of those sneaky albums where everybody has really forgotten about, and the sad part is it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
This had Burton from Fear Factory on it.
Yep, Burton sang in the whole album. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay's right. This is sneakily good. It's definitely something to go back and check out, especially if you like Burton's voice.
Yeah, yes, that's the thing. If you like Burton's voice, you will like this.
Yeah, it's good, man. But let's go to track 9, because I think this is the most pivotal song on here for definitely me and you.
Fear Factory.
Oh, yes. So this is Fear Factory with Zero Signal. Track 5 on the album, Tim? 6?
3.
Is it 3? Zero Signal is 3?
It's 3, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because Replica's after this and then New Breed. Yes. This is, like we talked about, this is the first time I've ever heard Fear Factory. I had no idea what I was getting into, and that double bass gallop starts and you're going, yo, what is this?
Well, you're thinking of Demanufacture. That's the opener.
This starts with the yeah, this is the gallop. Yeah.
Well, they all have the gallop in it, but
yeah,
I think
way to insult the entire album. But yeah, you're right.
I think you're thinking of Demanufacture, the opener, though, how it just has that.
Could be.
This one starts out with the synths.
Yeah.
And then it just has the double parts. But I remember the first time hearing this and I was fucking blown away. Like my little young mind could not even. I was like, what
that was
this?
The first time I heard Fear Factory too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that shit is mind blowing. That record is just fucking top to bottom amazing. There's not one bad song on that record. There's not one bad riff on that record. I think it's probably, like we were talking about earlier about Ministry being a big, influence. I think Fear Factory is probably a bigger influence on metal. It's just people don't really know how to replicate it. It's hard to replicate.
I mean, there was in my opinion, a whole scene propped up of, I wouldn't call them Fear Factory ripoffs, but that cyber metal stuff.
Yeah.
From Fear Factory, I found this band called Mimic.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're so good. But they sound like Fear Factory just with a different vocal style, and it's incredible.
Yeah, a lot of the Euro bands went this route, like Mimic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Mimic is great, man. Cybreed, yep.
Man, I forgot about Mimic.
Yes, Cybreed, Scar Symmetry.
Oh, Scar Symmetry, yeah, dude. Soilwork even kind of went in that direction for a while with like Stabbing the Drama and what was that album, Figure Number 5? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that album's great.
Even the first couple Soilwork records, you kind of hear that kind of stuff in there too.
Sort of, yeah. I can hear that.
I mean, one could argue that Fear Factory birthed Korn, because Korn, the riff to Blind is the same riff in Scapegoat.
Yeah,
it's the exact same riff in Scapegoat. I mean,
same riff as Loco. I mean, it's that riff.
It's a very 0, 2, 0, 3, 0. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an effective riff. I love it.
Yeah, Slipknot used it 4,000 times throughout their career. I mean,
they've made like 7 albums out of it. But
they really have.
This is Fear Factory, vintage Fear Factory at its finest. I remember hearing the song and going, my God, this must be like a 10-piece band. It's so loud and the guitars are layered so well. And then I remember seeing them live in Asbury, and I was like, they're a 4-piece? Are you kidding me? They're a 4-piece?
Some of the best production of the 90s.
Yes.
You're not fucking wrong, dude. Obsolete's production is.
Nowadays, that would be all over the radio. Nowadays.
Yeah.
Be all over the radio.
I mean, even Digimortal's production is amazing.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the first song I heard from them was Dark Bodies, Invisible Wounds.
Oh, hell yeah.
From that record. And then I heard I can't remember if it was the Hate Files version or the one from Digimortal, but either way, that song just blew my mind.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I'd never heard a vocalist like Burton C. Bell before. And then I got more into them because I got like heavy into Apartment 26, and I still love that band to death. And there's a bonus track from their first album, not technically second album, their first major label, Hallucinating. I think it's called Death, and it features Burton C. Bell on guest vocals, and it's
Oh shit! Oh yeah, that's right. I gotta check
Yeah,
that out again.
his voice is unmistakable, unmistakable. When you listen to any type of this type of music, when you hear his voice, you know exactly who it is.
exactly.
Jay, I'm really looking forward to the show to see how the new singer sounds with all this stuff. So
Very, very curious. Did they announce who it is yet, or are they not going to announce it?
not yet.
Yeah, I was about to ask who it is. It's Edsel Dope. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Right, he's doing 3 sets that night. Who is it? It's Fear Factory. Is it Fear Factory? Static X Mushroomhead? Dope.
Dope.
Fear
Twisted.
Factory. It's Fear Factory, Dope, Mushroom Head, Twisted.
Yep.
Uh,
Static
the
X.
ICP type band.
Where is it?
it's gonna be
TLA?
great. TLA. Yep.
Well, as long as we have a good shot coming out of there, I mean, it'll be a really good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So moving on from
Never mind. Go ahead.
moving on from Fear Factory, we have another band from the 90s that's forgotten. That's the album is unreal. This is Sister Machine Gun with the title track off their 3rd LP, Burn. Yo, this
Great
is music.
fucking record.
This
That
is
a
music.
Super sick song.
This is music to have sex to. That whole album, right? Tim, we talked about this, I think, on a different episode.
Yeah,
Definitely
great record.
music to have sex to.
Unbelievable record.
Yeah, and I don't think he's gone on to do anything. I don't think they've gone on to do anything since.
That's sad, man, because there's some talent in that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the Wikipedia. Yeah, he worked. The guy was, New York's Limelight. Joined KMFDM as a stage tech, Wax Tracks.
Yeah, so he's been around with all like the cool stuff.
He started with Die Warsaw, which was, man, they were another industrial band that has long been forgotten. Yeah, Sins of the Flesh in 92, Torture Technique in 94.
I mean, that's 3 records in a row that people should definitely check out.
Yeah. Burn 95. Yeah.
If you haven't
I
heard
knew Sins of the
D95.
Flesh going in because that's another band that Detox showed me because I asked him like, hey, like, and this was like a year and a half or 2 years ago. I was like, hey man, I'm trying to get more into industrial, and he was like, say no more, and he made me like a 200 song playlist.
Yeah,
like so many amazing bands. That's how I found Acumen Nation. That's how I found God Lives Underwater, and Gary Newman's more industrial stuff.
I love Gary Newman.
Yeah, Exile is such a great record.
You still have that playlist? I want to check that out.
I'll send.
Pass it
I'll,
along.
yeah, I got you. Hold on. I made
Awesome.
my own version of it.
Does it happen to be on Apple Music?
It's on Spotify.
You got to use my account, Tim.
Right.
I'll send
It
it
is-
to Jay on Discord.
It's funny how with every genre, there's the bands that come out and it get the sound big. There's the bands that become one-hit wonders. There's the bands that time forgets, and it really shouldn't because they were really talented and just got lost in the shuffle. Sister Machine Gun's one of those bands. They got lost in the shuffle, and yet they definitely should have stood out. They were better than Die Warsaw. They weren't as good as God Lives Underwater, but they had some talent.
Definitely. 100%.
So coming off of Sister Machine Gun, we make an interesting kind of left turn, and we go to Typo Negative with Blood and Fire Out of the Ashes mix. And I believe this is off of Bloody Kisses.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I Typo Negative is one of those bands that I always forget how much I fucking love. October Rust is an amazing album. Like, it was as good as Bloody Kisses was, as good as Slow, Deep, and Hard was. October Rust exploded for them because it was truly accessible. Like, it wasn't all 7-minute songs about having sex with a girl with a crucifix on her over her bed. Like, it was like there was some shit that could get on the radio, and it was really good.
Yeah, I think this band is one of the bands I used to listen to it as a youngin' and be like, yeah, they're all right. But then when I got a little older, I was like, man, I did not appreciate how great this band is.
And let me know if you agree, Oriion, but they're one of these bands where they really have no contemporary. Like, they have no analog. They were so unique.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those bands where, like, they are them. Like, Typo Negative, like, you can only go to Typo Negative for Typo Negative, just like you can only go to Mindless Self-Indulgence for Mindless Self-Indulgence, or etc. Any of those bands. I unfortunately never really got into them. Like I admit that Peter Steele has a fantastic voice. He's an amazing bass player. There's one song from their was it 2007, I think, Dead Again, Tripping a Blind Man from that album. It's really good. And then it's funny how I got into them. Trivium covered I Don't Want to Be Me.
Which is a great fucking song. Like it really, Tim, have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
It is a great song. Like it is perfectly written.
Of course. That's like, you mean the Trivium one or just a regular?
No, the regular one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Trivium one's good though. I got shit. There's so much stuff I have to go back and listen to now.
Yeah. That's every time we do these deep dives, I end up with like 40 other fucking things I gotta listen to. But yeah, Type O Negative is one of those bands you really can't compare to because they truly did come out and carve a sound of their own. They were totally unique. You're never going to be able to replicate that. I did read there was a long form article. I want to say Revolver did it on the last album they did. Was it Dead Again? Was that their last album?
I think so.
With Rasputin on the cover, where they were all kind of falling apart. And the band was falling apart. Peter Steele was drinking a lot, and they had a rough go with that album, but it was, man, it's just so talented and so unique, truly unique.
I hated Carnivore.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. That was more them doing. I think that was more them doing a thing to be what's scandalous, right? Whatever. That was them creating an image, but yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. Everyone was so hyped for Carnivore at this Sarkor. When they played, the entire place fucking went and got a drink, took a piss. There was literally like 4 kids watching.
Oh, is that Peter Steele's thrash band or something?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And now I remember. All I remember is that I tried listening to that album, and the opening track is like somebody like dry heaving into a toilet or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, no, I'm not. I'm good. No thanks.
Yeah, it's horrible. I don't care. It's one of them bands that people pretend they like just for like scene points.
It was provocative just to be provocative back at that time.
Yeah, it's not good.
There was other stuff being way more provocative that was better. So
it's not good at all. I don't care what anyone says. Fight me.
Okay. So after Type O Negative and Tim's favorite Carnivore, we have Bile with I Reject.
Bile.
Not the best song on the EP, but this EP fucking rocks.
Bangs, yeah.
Suck Pump, I think it's called.
Yes.
Weird stuff.
they were so bizarre, but they were, I dare say, and somebody was going to read through their fucking radio, want to stab me with this one. I dare say they were the New York industrial equivalent to Guar, where it was half music and it was half stage show. Like they played in the dark, and they had strobes, and there was like a gimp on stage, and they had wild leather costumes, like almost bondage type stuff, kind of like a cross between the Genitorturers and some other stuff. But it was
that kind of part of industrial I don't like.
It gets weird. Jack Off Jill, it gets really weird. Like there were some really weird corners of industrial we were like, the fuck are they on about?
That's not my scene.
What was the band with the girl singer? But
Kidney Thieves?
No, it was like Lords of Acid.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I like some of theirs.
I like their stuff though, because their stuff is like, it's dirty, but it's dirty techno. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's the shit you listen to. That's the shit you listen to when you're 2 hours into the E.
Yes. Yeah, your brain starts kind of overheating at that point. Yeah. I dove into last time we talked about Bile, and I think it was from the Strangeland soundtrack. I went down the rabbit hole. I dug out Techno Horror, and I forgot how good of an album that actually is. But their later catalog didn't do much for me. I could take the EP and Techno Horror and be totally happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. But the stuff on Strangeland, that record's great.
Yes.
I'll check out those two. I'll check out those 2 releases.
Yeah, the Techno Horror is them getting less industrial, more rocky. But I mean, they rip off Stone Temple Pilots, and they do a song called the Interstate Hate Anthem.
Oh,
which is the opposite to the Interstate Love
Song.
Yeah, Interstate Love Song. Yeah, it's
I definitely got
it was a little bit more
because I love Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, they and the song sounds nothing like what. Yeah, it's just really tongue in cheek, but it was really enjoyable. So after Bile, we end up with my boys, right? Birmingham's own Napalm Death with Twist the Knife Slowly.
Great song.
Dude, I still
So good.
fucking love this band. I love this band. So this is Fear, Emptiness, and Despair. So that's what, 94. This is after Harmony Corruption.
I thought it was after Diatribes.
Was Diatribes, was that EP shows up? I think it bookends this, but it was
best record by them.
Diatribe. No,
I agree. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I like
So
their 90s. For me, with Napalm Death, when they have the regular font logo rather than the one used for Scum and all that stuff, that's when you know it's really good.
Yeah, dude.
I prefer their 90s output over.
I will go the exact opposite way, Orion, and
Yeah.
I will say their old school like crusty album logo. I mean, because that was Harmony Corruption, which is how I found Napalm Death. Then you had, with the new logo, you had Utopia Banished, Fear, Emptiness, Despair, Diatribes, Inside the Torn Apart, and I think was Words from the Exit Wound, right?
Yeah,
was still, that was all still that modern Napalm Death logo. Then they bring back the old one, and what do we get? We get Enemy of the Music Business, we get Order of the Leech, we get what was their comeback album, which is The Code is Red, Long Live the Code. Fucking Time Waits for No Slave is great. Utilitarian had its moments. But I swear their last album, Throes of Joy in the Jaws of Defeatism, is one of the best things they've done in a decade.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think they have any bad music. Just from what I've heard, I still need to dive into more of their catalog, but I prefer their 90s output over anything else. I think Diatribes is fantastic.
Hell yeah, dude. Right for the breaking. Oh, man.
And that's where I kind of wasn't as big a fan.
No,
dude,
my
Cold
friend
Forgiveness
Ian sent me Greed Killing, and I was like, "Oh, that's such a good opener!" Like,
yeah, dude, that's their best record. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. So yeah, if you've never checked out the band, the newest album is probably the most accessible. They have done the same thing for, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years. It still works. And they still put on a great show live. Their guitarist, so Mick Harris doesn't tour with them anymore. Or Mitch doesn't tour with them anymore. So they have a guy with dreadlocks who actually plays with them, John. And Barney was busting his balls the last time I saw them in Philly. Somebody said he looks like a juggalo. And Barney was like, "Oh, a juggalo." And he looked at him and he's like, "Woot, woot, indeed." Like Barney was really having a good time. And then it was really funny.
That's a good attitude. Love that.
Yeah, they're fun live. Like, and Barney puts on a good show. And again, guys that are like 60s, and he still can hit it. And his voice isn't overly distorted. Danny Herrera can't drum like he used to, but that's okay. But yeah, it's still love this band. Check out anybody who's listening. If you like this song, Fear, Emptiness, Despair is the album. You're better off going backwards into Harmony Corruption, or you can go forward into Inside the Torn Apart. Those are arguably the best bookends of this song. And then we have, I don't even know who this is. Mother's Day Out.
Brutal.
I don't know.
Did anybody make it fully through this song?
No.
No, horrible. Well, it's capital H.
I didn't seek it out. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't listen to it. I have no idea. You know, I'm gonna listen to it right now. Hold on.
Yeah, listen to it right now. Let's get your instant reaction.
Let's see here. Mother's Day Out.
It's bad.
It appeared in the 1995 movie Mortal Kombat during scene 2 while Sonya searches for Kano at a nightclub in Hong Kong amongst a large crowd moshing to the band. Oh, so they're in the movie.
Who, Mothers?
Yeah.
This is not what I was expecting.
Bad, right?
I mean, they nailed the late 90s, the mid 90s guitar tone. They nailed the
This
guitar
instrumental
tone.
isn't bad. Like, this is pretty good. Hold on.
It's one of them things where I go, nah, I'm good.
Do we reach out and try to get them on the show?
Yeah, let's get them on.
It's not my thing, unfortunately.
They're like 60.
Yeah, I did find that. The one guy is married with 3 daughters and is the lead vocalist for a Christian rock band.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it talks about the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. Apparently, the soundtrack went platinum in 10 days.
God dang.
For a mixed soundtrack.
What was that? Like Chocolate Starfish went platinum in like a week?
that was probably the last album to really do well because that's when downloading started. So I know that I can tell you the last multi-platinum selling record of the last century was Prodigy, Fat of the Land.
Oh wow.
Was the highest selling album to close out the century.
Shoot. I just kicked my camera. Hold on.
The
cord for this thing is so sensitive.
This album is it's not good. Mother's Day Out, just not good.
No. Let's kick the rest of these songs, and then I want to talk about some other shit.
Yeah. So while Oriion is figuring out his camera woes, here he comes. We've got the Immortals.
Okay.
With another techno song. And oh well, funnily enough, Tim, the two people in the Immortals are two of the people from the band Lords of Acid.
Oh, okay.
So we have officially come full circle in this conversation. And then it ends with Goro versus Art. Again, check out the bad CGI. This is George Clinton with Buckethead. Odd pairing there. And then the Final Combat, Demon Warriors / Final Combat is George Clinton himself. So, in summary, good album. Kind of very, very eclectic, but this is what the mid to early 90s was. It was everything thrown in a blender and let's see what sticks. There's some bands that are forgotten, sadly. There's some bands that actually went on to do big things. There's some bands that weren't half bad and deserved a bit of a shake. So I'm going to ask you, Tim, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank this album?
I'm going to give it an 8 just because it gave me Fear Factory.
Okay.
Just on that fact of the 4 good songs that are on here and the fact that it gave me Fear Factory, I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. Orion?
I usually hate rating music, but I mean, it's just like, I guess if I have to, I guess I rate it like a 7.5 or like a 7.8. Because the songs that are really good, like my favorites from this one, Halcyon and On, Orbital, Zero Signal by Fear Factory, Burned by Sister Machine Gun, the Juke Joint Jezebel remix, all fantastic songs. Twist the Knife Slowly by Napalm Death, of course. Okay. The stuff that's good on here is like really good. You know, I don't know. I hate to sound objective with my opinions because it's just my opinion. But you know, I mean, it's a good album.
It's fair. It's fair. I can't give it a 10 because I gave Strangeland a 10. I would say this right behind it for me though is a 9 for the same reasons. This is where I discovered Fear Factory. This is where I discovered Bile. This is where I already had Sister Machine Gun at the time, but Tracy Lords and Psychosonic. This is where I started poking down that electronic road. I went down into the Orbital, the Orb, Jesus, I think Venetian Snares, some of that stuff.
Venetian Snares is so good.
Just different. This was the 90s where everything just got thrown together and we saw it work. But yeah, I think great album. If you're looking for a playlist that's not curated by some Momo on Spotify, this and Strangeland are probably great albums to start with as playlists. But strongly suggested it is not on Spotify. However, the album is not on Spotify. There are a couple of playlists that have been built manually that have a lot of this stuff. I think I have my own copy that I threw into YouTube Music or whatever the hell I use for streaming. So
yeah, Mother's Day Out is not on streaming though.
Oh, we're really missing out on that. Like we're really missing out on that. What label were they on? Can we email somebody?
Here, let me
Chrysalis.
Here, I can look on Discogs. Hold on. Mother's Day Out. That's probably like a subsection of a different
British.
Label.
It is a British label. Well, there you go.
Are they an independent label? Oh, they are. Wow. Okay. Wait, nope. They are a subdivision of EMI.
There you go. There you go.
Before we go, let's talk about the cultural effects of this game, though, because I think that it was huge, man. I mean, when this arcade came out, I mean, dude, the lines to play this
people
game,
were just dropping quarters nonstop.
I mean, how much money do you think these arcades made?
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, but it's like the first arcade game, dude. Like, how many quarters a day went in them things?
Let me ask you, Tim. Does this game happen if it wasn't for Street Fighter 2, which came out right before it?
Probably not. Would you get Killer Instinct from that either? No.
You need Street Fighter 2 to come out, and then this came out, and this was the same game, but with way more quasi-realistic violence. Yeah. And then when they released it for what home system got it? Because it wasn't on Nintendo. I think it was on
It was
Sega.
on the Sega Genesis
Sega.
or
Yes,
something.
it was Sega
Yeah.
because Nintendo, I think, at one point refused to carry it.
Yeah.
Yep,
And even
Sega.
on the Sega, like it was like heavily censored. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Well, you could put in the cheat code for the blood. I wish I could remember
That's true.
what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and now everybody's all these young kids are listening like, what cheat code to see blood? Like, what are you?
Yeah.
That one. Okay, you know that one here. I'm gonna explain this to the younger ones. Saturday Night Wrist by Deftones. You know that one song that's the up up down down left right BA start. That's the Konami code. That's a cheat code.
For this game.
No, for this game it was something different. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
Well, dude, like I wish I could talk to somebody, or we could talk to someone who like made the game, because like they have to be like, I mean, at this rate, how many games are out? It's like they have like 15 at
I've
this
lost
point,
count.
right?
Oh, I've lost
And
count.
they're still super fun to play. I mean, how much money do you think this as a whole has made?
I don't
Well,
know,
it's
but I can tell
probably
you
the most successful fighting game franchise ever.
Has to be. I mean, Street
the
Fighter, yeah, but Tekken, but
the cheat code is Abacab. ABACABB.
Also a great
okay.
band.
I don't remember that. What are they?
They're like one of the like Tony Danza extravaganza type.
Oh, the Dr. Acula, the white belt swoop core team,
Yep.
that stuff.
Yeah, they were one of
Okay.
those types of like mid 2000s mathcore bands. Super good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wish that stuff never happened.
It was an interesting it was an interesting time.
Oh,
It was
come
an interesting
on.
time. It was
Yep.
yeah.
What was so bad about it?
Oh,
It was just horrible.
that was so. You have to figure, Orion. This is coming on the back of Ferret and Trustkill being the biggest things in the world. Poison the Well has completely exploded.
Dude, Trustkill is literally my favorite record label ever.
Every Time I Die, Zayo, Unearth, all those bands are really starting to pop and be huge. And then on the back of that, you have the skronky mathcore, the chick jeans, studded belt, swoop haircut scene, which was Dr. Acula. I wrestled a bear once.
I love
what
that
else?
stuff.
What else?
Norma
Tim?
Jean.
Not even that. It was worse than that. It was like See You Next Tuesday.
The number 12 looks like you.
Yes,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Where there were some bands that had some talent, but
the Red Chord was really good.
Yeah, but they were in a league of their own. They were out in, what was that, 90, 96, 97?
Really? I thought they were a 2000s band.
Was it 2000?
Yeah, they're 2000s.
Was it? What Fused was in 2000, wasn't it?
Hey, it was something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely weren't 90s though.
And also, I'd say a lot of bands also took influence from Candiria is another one of those bands that didn't get the credit that they deserve.
Yep, never have. They never have.
Yeah. Like,
Great
as much as I
fucking
can say, like, I love that scene of the skronky mathcore. Like, I love the OG stuff. Like, I was listening to you remember Nora?
Yeah. They just played Jersey a couple weeks ago.
they did.
Last
They're
week.
still playing?
They just played the God Forbid
That's
show.
Yeah, they
insane.
came out of
Oh yeah, that's right.
They came out of retirement to play the God Forbid show. Yeah.
Which is
Carl's
great.
like 70.
Did you see that Trustkill put up a bunch of their original pressings on CDs up for sale in cold cuts?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's slowly working through getting his rights back to not even getting rights back, getting rights onto streaming, because apparently they were bought by Trustkill was bought by a label which went defunct, and the catalog was all in it was lost or something. I think Doc Coyle interviewed Josh, and then Josh Trustkill said, yeah, he's in the process of clearing rights so he can get all this stuff back onto the streaming services.
Yeah, they found a bunch of old original. I bought a ton. Like I bought there's so much good stuff on Trustkill. There's a Brothers Keeper disembodied split called Oxymoron that's fantastic. Those early Bleeding Through records, It Dies Today. My favorite band of all time, Hopes Fall, like their whole output with Trustkill is like literally some of the best music I ever made, in my opinion.
You're not fucking wrong.
Yeah,
Hopes Fall is great.
It's
Hopes Fall is fantastic. And
well, let's go back to Candiria though.
What?
You're not. Let's go back to Candiria real quick. You're not one of them people that thinks they're a new metal band, are you?
They have like elements of like rapcore and that stuff in their music, but I mean, ultimately they're mathcore, post-hardcore.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
I'm not.
Somewhere Holiday Kirk's right ear just really started itching. That's fine, Kirk. We're coming for you.
There's so many times I just have to like prevent myself from posting one of his tweets in his DMs. It's like, how is this new metal?
Yeah, like enough.
So to answer your question, Tim, the home cartridge version of Mortal Kombat exceeded $300 million gross. It's the equivalent to $560 million in today's
Holy shit
money in
cartridge.
That's insane.
The cartridge.
Wow.
As of 2000, Mortal Kombat had sold 6.5 million cartridges worldwide across all platforms.
That's insane.
The as of 2002, the original arcade version has sold 24,000 arcade units and grossed an estimated 570 million. The game has also generated licensing fees from films and TV shows, bringing the total game and licensing revenue as of 2002 to $1.5 billion.
Wow.
All because I could uppercut somebody and have their head fly off into a pit of spikes.
This is just from the original.
Yes, just the first game.
Holy fuck.
Oh, wow. Okay. There's no telling how much they made, like, from everything. God.
That's what I mean. Like, can you find out everything up until now? Like, with all them releases, it has to be.
Oh, it's probably insane.
Oh, man.
Dude, I was not expecting them numbers for just the car first one.
Not at all.
I want to know how many quarters that they fucking in money just from quarters. Because, like, dude, like when we were the age where we could play arcades, like if you went to Putt Putt around me, there was a place called Putt Putt Golf that had an arcade in it. Like you would have to stand out the door to wait for that shit.
Yeah, we had a Pizza Hut. The line was at the door. The kids were coming out, would rotate in and say, "Hey, you're up next."
Yeah, I mean, and even on like the Wildwood Boardwalk in Jersey, like they had a bunch of arcades on that boardwalk because the Wildwood Boardwalk, if you're not from around here, I mean, most of our listeners aren't. That boardwalk was huge. It was fucking like 2 miles probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there were so many arcades on there. Every arcade you went to, they had every Mortal Kombat. It would be out the door. That's where everybody was standing right there. People would watch. There would be people that like would win like 15 times in a row, and like you would have to try and beat him. That shit was crazy, man. One of the coolest things about my childhood is that stuff, man.
I can say here that Mortal Kombat, one of the most successful fighting game franchises in video game history, previously trailing only Tekken, Street Fighter, and Super Smash Brothers. As of 2021, it has surpassed all three of those in worldwide lifetime franchise sales, generated more than $4 billion in revenue by the late 90s, $5 billion in total by 2000.
Wow.
Let's see here. The Mortal Kombat games have sold. As of 2021, the Mortal Kombat franchise has sold 73 million units, give or take. That is insane.
That's it, though, for everything? 73?
73 million. Well, million cartridges.
Oh, cartridges. Oh,
yes.
Shit, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, that's just cartridges.
Holy fuck. I thought you meant everything. Like,
so the franchise has sold about 73 million units. So is that
Christ,
really? Wait a minute, let me see here.
Here, I need to check something real quick.
Mortal Kombat X sold 11 million. Jesus. Like this is, but to your point, Tim, and I'm glad you brought it up. This is scale. Like the scale of this is almost inconceivable. It's almost inconceivable. And you're right. There was lines out the door to play. You know, you put your quarter on the screen. That means you got next.
Yep. And
there were lines out the door for Street Fighter 2 for this. What was the game? It was the RC cars on the dirt track, and you had the nitro button. Something RC off-road, something or other. It was a 4-player. I remember
ATV Off-Road Fury. I don't know.
Something like that. I remember something the line like being out of the pizza parlor.
There's so many clone versions of those games. Like I've been to arcades and stuff like when I was younger, and there were so many clones of those kind of games.
See, that's the only thing that sucks for kids that are young because they didn't get to experience that kind of shit like Blockbuster and that feeling of. Oh, did you?
Yeah, but I used to go there all the time and rent games and movies and whatnot. Okay. Now it's an IHOP.
But like that feeling of walking in on a Friday night and they actually had the movie you wanted to rent.
Yeah, it's
Like
the best.
that feeling,
I
like
miss it
you'll
so
never
much.
get that again. That'll
Yeah.
never happen again for kids.
Or when they didn't have what you want, you're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like what am I gonna rent now? And you just go up and down the aisles and you hope and pray you can find something worth watching.
That's where you always found them shitty B movies out of nowhere because you're like, oh, that looks pretty cool.
I am convinced Boondock Saints would not be the movie it was if it wasn't for being stuffed along all those blockbuster shelves. And you're like, there's a couple copies of this. Maybe this is good. Let me go see this.
Yeah, no, my friend Calvin wanted me to watch Boondock Saints so badly, and I still haven't yet.
It's a good movie. Like it's
That's
a good
fucking
movie
great.
when you ignore all the hype and all the guy Troy Duffy is a bit of, I think he's proven to be a bit of an asshole, but it was an enjoyable, well done movie. Really was.
I worked at a library for a summer, like back in, I think it was like 2018 or 2019 or something, and like people would bring in just boxes upon boxes of used movies and stuff like that. And I picked up this Ben Stiller. I know him, Ben Stiller. Yeah, it was. Mystery Men.
Oh.
No, I love that movie. It's so goofy.
I can't even believe you said it. It's hilarious.
Oh my Lord. I don't know if we're not gonna be able to top that. I think we're gonna have to close on that one. Jesus.
Oh
great,
man. Dude.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what do people do with all those old movies? You know, there's all those old VHS tapes.
They give them to like libraries and like Goodwills and stuff. You find some good stuff. Like I have like my entire movie collection is probably like I spent like $20 on like 300 something movies.
Nothing wrong with that, dude.
Nick Box somewhere right now is listening or watching in the UK. He just actually closed up his shop. He had what was the dead format video store? It was all DVD, VHS, Laserdisc. He had a whole bunch of stuff.
So he closed shop? That's sad.
Yeah,
it's really sad.
COVID happened, which didn't help.
Yeah.
And it's starting a business. I think is tough. Starting a business in a unique niche like that is really tough. And then you got to worry about foot traffic and all that other stuff. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Nick
Good
is
for him for trying though.
Yeah, he's going to bounce back with something even bigger. I mean, I'm stoked. We're actually going to have him on. We're trying to work out the dates. We're going to deep dive into the workhorse movement, which he is oddly obsessed with. So I really looking forward to that conversation. Another bizarre pick. All right, let's wrap this one up. So Mortal Kombat, the soundtrack. There are playlists on Spotify, so check it out. If you really can't find it, email the show and Tim and I'll send you a zip copy of the album. But we're big fans. It was indicative of the 90s, but even that being said, there's a lot of really, really good shit on it. So go back, play the original video game, play the remake, enjoy the movie for what it was. And until next time, this is a New Breed podcast saying peace.